Welcome to Crawdaddy's Custom Crankbaits. One of subscribers, I'm not going to mention his name, he called me and said he was having trouble with crawfish, how to do crawfish. You know, I've got videos out there, but apparently I don't know if I'm not explaining it well enough or not, so I figured I'd sit down and do a crawfish for beginners, how to learn how to do a crawfish. The paper I use, man, this is the paper, my invoice paper, when I order baits and they send it to me. All I'm doing is I'm roughly looking how big I want it. I just make sure I cut plenty of paper. But that's all I start with. I start with this piece of paper. I kind of hold it up and say, okay, if I go to the bill here, how far do I want this shell to come behind the gill plate, or where do I want it to line up? This is something you can play with, but here I know it's going to be plenty big enough. However I rip it, all I do is come in here and I just rip it. If you want one to be more uniform, you can cut it with a pair of scissors, and you can have it, you know, more uniform. But once I've got that piece of paper ripped how I want that shell to come, now all I'm doing is going to come up here and say, okay, I can take this to shorten that up, not measuring it, you know, I know roughly where I want it. And now I know that's going to fit under my bill. That's going to come down far enough where I want it. And now I have my template for my shell pattern. Put some paint in my airbrush. I'm just using Bombay black ink. Just putting a little bit in there, maybe a drop, maybe 2 drops. I'm gonna wet me a Q-tip down. This is for tip dry. That just helps when you clean your tip. If you're having trouble with it, I got a Mac valve on the side of mine that I can adjust the air pressure down, but I spray at 20 psi. I've done it for so long. That's what I spray everything at. But all you do is just, you know, take your piece of paper, line it to where you want it. That's about where I want my shell. Just get it kind of tight with your finger. Now you just want to mainly on the paper until you see it going off onto the bait. And just follow that piece of paper around. And this line here, you can make it dark, you know, as you want it. I'm trying to make it really pronounced so you can really see it on the camera. But there's my first shell. Now all I'm doing is coming back here, finding me a spot. I mean, you can line this up close. You can line it wherever you want to line it. So I'm just going to line it up, get my next shell pattern. Now I got my second shell pattern in, same thing, gonna line it up back here. You can have it down if you want it, tucked under, however you want to do it. That's entirely up to you, and how far you bring it down or how high you bring it. That's just however you want to make your shells to be. Now, if you want this to be your last shell, you can either turn this over and make one long shell, which I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm just going to find me a spot, tie it into that shell pattern. There, if I didn't get it dark enough, as dark as I want, we'll come back, put that back up there. Just darken that in. Now you have your shell pattern. Like I said, I'm getting tip dry. Take my Q-tip, it's got alcohol on it. Clean my tip off. Now the key is getting your shell pattern on the other side to match what you have here. All I'm gonna do is, I've got this cut maybe like a 45-degree angle. I'm gonna take my template, I'm gonna lay up here, and all I'm doing is really getting it, that stupid little bug, is lining it up to where I want it, you know, coming across. And you don't have to be perfect on this, as long as you're kind of halfway straight. All I'm doing is tying my line there across as straight as you can get it. I'm just coming down each shell. Tying it in. I'm gonna take and turn it over. Now here's where you kind of have to look over here on the side here and say, this is how far I came down. I'm on this shell pattern. So you just kind of have to match that the best you can. But once you come up here and put this on, majority of the time you're gonna be pretty close to where you were on the other side with your shell pattern. There, I'm just lining it up to the top, getting it underneath my, bill. The air is going to push that down and hold it down. But that's all you do. Now to tie into that one there, I'm just going to come over, put into that one, lay it up there on the top where I can see my line. Put my next shell in. Same thing, I'm gonna come up here, find my line up on the top that crosses the back. Just like I did a while ago, turn this over, line it up. I knew it was on this mark here, so I'm gonna line it up to that. And put that one in. And there you have it. I mean, you have your shell pattern, all the way around. Now all I do is come back in and darken around my eyes. And this part, you can make it big. You can make whatever you want to do. It's whatever you desire to make your pattern look like. If you want the nose dark, you can darken it. I mean, this is all entirely up to you on how you want your crawfish to look. That's a simple and easy way to do shell patterns. I'm trying to make this video not so long. And I could sit here and paint this whole thing, but that is just the basics of creating a nice looking crawfish and matching both sides. I have, templates here that, I ordered these and I just cut me a square for my dots. So, I mean, you can use these if you want to come in and place dots, or you can do the splatter technique. I mean, that's all that is. I'm just coming in here and I'm putting random dots where I want them. Just trying to stay above my shell line. If you want them to come up the shell, just turn this thing sideways and paint you some up the shell. I mean, this is entirely your choice on how you want to do it. I've got videos out there talking about the splatter, with the toothbrush. You can do that, and it just gives you small dots if you don't have one of these templates, and it gives you a nice effect. But that's all I'm doing. I just come around, put the dots on it. With this template, you can make one of these templates. I got a video out on how to make one of these simple. It's very easy to make, but if you want to buy one, they're like 17, 18 bucks. They're not cheap. But here, like I said, I'm just coming here and putting some dots in where I want to put them. Random. There's no rhyme or reason why, where. I'm just putting them in there. And all this is just giving you some texture on your bait, where it's just not just one uniform looking thing. You're giving some life to it. I mean, you can put as many as you want. If you wanted to come back with this, a smaller template, I mean, I can come up here and just, put in some random, just stay back, dust it real light, and I can put in, more dots, but just smaller. I mean, this is all entirely up to you on how you want your crawfish to look. Want to go to the back and put some across the back, flip that over, get your template. Put them in there. That's if you want more specks on it or whatever. And clean this out of my airbrush. As I said, I'm trying to make this quick, I'm just gonna kind of probably do maybe a red crawfish, taking some red. This is just red ink. I think this is crimson red. Otherwise, just turn my compressor off. Now all I'm going to do is just come across the back and just start putting my color down. Trying to stay above my lines. Now here I'm just coming across the shoulder, deepening that red. This part you can make it as dark as light, whatever you want to do. All I'm doing is darkening around the shell a little bit. See, this is how my airbrush. I'm just taking a lighter shade of red. I think this is called an orange red. And my yapping little dog. Just filling that in, just but I mean, that is all you do. I mean, you play around with the colors that you want. If I was doing blue or whatever color crawfish I want to do, it just don't make it harder than it needs to be, you know. I mean, that is just a plain simple crawfish. When you go with red, sometimes it's better to come back and darken in those lines if you want them darker. But once you put the epoxy on, or whatever clear, it's gonna make those pop better anyway. Guys, I'm hurrying. I'm trying to make this not a long video, short video, or a shorter video. But here, pick your orange, what you want on the bottom. I'm just putting some orange in there. You know, if you want to leave it white, you leave it white, or whatever color you want. Now I'm just going to come in the bottom, and now I'm not worried about it if it gets on that red. You know, I'm not worried about the overspray at all, because all it's going to do is make it brighter. And there you have a red crawfish. And like I said, if you're putting this orange down, I mean, you can come up here and put orange in this thing if you want. I mean, you know, to brighten that up some. All that's doing is giving you multiple colors that you have. I mean, this is the good thing about this stuff, man. You can just, whatever you want to do. Just putting more orange up here around the gill plate. Just random coming here and putting some orange in it, so when you turn it, you have multiple colors. But that is just a basic, simple, easy crawfish, and how to do the pattern. Like I said, got some of that orange around the eye socket up there. I'm not worried about it. We'll just take me a drop of orange, black. One drop. Come back around. Darken my eye wherever I want to go. I mean, if I want to go bigger, I'm gonna go bigger. You know, just make it whatever you want to do. If you want to darken the back, make it darker. Just hold back a little bit. And you can put a darker back on it. You still see the red through it, but I just misted the black over it just to deepen that color in a little bit. That's all I'm doing. But there you have it. That is the simplest I can make it. I mean, it's showing you how to put the shell on, just doing a basic crawfish that really looks good. You'd be proud of. But anyway, like I said, if y'all have questions, man, just PM me on Facebook. That's what he did. He PM'd me. He got my number and called me. I'm more than happy to help anybody. But anyway, that's what I had tonight at Crawdaddy's. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll be seeing you at Crawdaddy's.